where to concentrate. Is it the form of Krishna or the chanting? So my mind was wandering that way.
That's interesting. Thank you for bringing that up. So you were sort of torn between meditating on the form of Krishna and hearing the mantra. Yeah. And Prabhupada says some different things about that. He says that in the beginning, we just hear the mantra, and then when the mind is really fixed in hearing, at a certain point, the form of Krishna will naturally appear in the mind. Because it can be quite hard to, because it's like the senses tend to focus on one thing. So if you're trying to focus on the form and hearing, it can be a bit, like you said, you were a bit torn there. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was trying to just bring the mind to chanting.
Yes. Great, thank you for sharing that.
So while chanting, I have seen like Vrindavan's Baki Bihari ji.
Wow. Oh.
The black color ones. I always see, whenever I'm chanting, I always see them. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh,
yeah.
That's advanced.
Yeah.
Isn't Banki Bihari is the one that they have to keep closing
Yes.
the curtains?
Yeah.
Because he runs away if they don't
Yeah.
tie him down.
Yeah.
And first two mantras I was thinking about Krishna, but after that, my consciousness take me to my work, like what needs to be done. What we are doing and stuff like that. So so I was counted. I was saying, but I was back of my mind.
Yeah.
Something else was going.
Yeah. Thank you, AJ. Thank you. Because the mind is so quick, right? I was sort of thinking about this. The mind can go to India. Like now, if you sit in this room and you think about somewhere in India, the mind's there.
Yes.
Less than a second, right? How about you, Shanta? Did you go?
You focus on the sound. The sound resonates throughout you. Your mind will always flicker, but you just got to bring it back. So wherever it goes, don't get disparaged by it, just bring it back and focus on the frequency of the sound, as well as envision Krishna, the picture of Krishna around. That's what I usually do.
Yeah. So you were talking about, like Simona, you also you have the sound and you have the form. Yeah. I know you're a meditator, so you're suggesting that we don't get disheartened if the mind wanders.
That is a natural process.
Will happen.
It's natural for your mind to wander.
Yeah.
So if your mind is wandering, it's not a bad thing. It's working.
Yeah.
You just keep bringing it back.
Just bring it back.
Keep bringing it back.
Yeah. Okay. It's 1 o'clock. Completely all over the place with timing. Does it usually finish about 1 or?
I guess so. We chatted a little longer, but if anyone has any more questions, they can certainly ask.
Any questions about that?
Apparently Kavi's preparing the meal still, some of the things, so you can talk a little longer.
Okay.
Just give it another 5 minutes and answer questions.
Sure.
If-
Let's see. I will say that, but we'll have questions. Yeah. Did you have a question?
Yes. I noticed when I'm chanting, there's different levels of feeling. Levels of thinking. There is feeling, the general feeling will come and invite.
It's just my hearing because there's traffic outside,
Okay,
and my hearing's not so good. So yeah.
Yeah, when we think, there is different level of thinking.
Different levels.
Yes, and so for example now I had this general thinking, or it was okay, I have to be focused in chanting, and it was another near who was oh, I'm so happy to be here and sing together, and it was little around, trying to be in the middle. So I want to know if in the scriptures they speak about this different kind of thinking were in the mind, because we speak in general about the mind, who have this profession to think, be to all together in the same time in body when we are chanting. So
I don't think I'm really understanding your question, and I'd like to understand the question better if I'm to sort of say anything about it. So let me see if I can. So you're asking, like, you notice when you're chanting, you have your mind thinks on different levels or in different ways.
like we have been, I don't know for others, but I noticed for myself there is not just one thing.
Or you can have many feelings.
Yes. And in general, there is
Next.
one bigger. We
Yes.
take all the days. For example, when people speak about what they are thinking, it's a bigger one.
Yeah.
But there is many,
Yeah.
like little insects like one.
Yeah.
And so I never listened about that. Like we speak about the mind. So
Yes.
I'm wondering if there is anything about that.
Sort of more detailed explanation
Yes.
about the different way it feels. And,
Yeah.
I think there is, and I'm not shastric enough to know the specific places. I know that I've heard the mind likened to, or because it sounds like you're talking about emotions, right? So you have like a bit of an emotion that is a bigger emotion, like generally you're feeling happy, but there may be little tiny emotions, maybe anxiety or something that come up within that. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's like thoughts, like thinking, like it's really like words, conversation. I don't know, I can explain it.
Can somebody else help me with this? Because I don't think I'm doing very well in receiving you, and I'm sorry about that.
You speak French, you get it. Ask the question in French.
Faut parler français, mais peut-être.
Maybe you'll understand.
Parce que je sais pas dire penser, mais en fait, c'est des mots, c'est des pensées. Il y a une pensée générale et puis il y a des pensées autour. Ils prennent moins d'espace, mais c'est un groupe de pensées. C'est pas, par exemple, il disait qu'il a pensé aux Olympiques en France et puis il a pensé. Voilà, il a pensé à différentes choses. Mais la question c'est est-ce qu'il a pensé au même moment ou est-ce que c'était.
Ok.
Et donc j'aimerais savoir si dans les écritures on parle de ces différentes pensées ou pas. Parce qu'en général on parle du mental, on dit du mental, du moral avec la pensée, les pensées, mais on ne parle pas du fait qu'elles puissent être ensemble et simultanées. Et voilà,
Yeah, so I think, so I'll translate. I'll try. So what I'm getting when you said it in French is, it's because I was understanding that you meant more about feelings. So it's more about thoughts, that you can have many thoughts coming in at the same time. You might have one overarching thought, but you've got all these other thoughts flashing in and out. Like she was giving the example of you were thinking about the Paris Olympics, and you were thinking about my wife, and whether the Shastra talks about that. It definitely talks about how by the power of meditation, mantra, the mind is pacified, so that very flickering nature can start. It was you, wasn't it? Chris was saying it wasn't long enough for you to rein your mind in, but after you've chanted for a while, the mind starts sort of settling down, and all those thoughts. It isn't so busy. I mean, there's different texts. There's Ayurveda, right? So in Ayurveda, it talks about the sort of Vata type mind, which is really flickering, really busy, really all over the place. That's what I have. It's really annoying. And a sort of Kapha type personality. We have probably slower thinking, or so they have more of an advantage in that sense. So I know in the text of Ayurveda, you probably find different aspects of the mind. Do you know any other texts where the mind is sort of explored in more detail?
what you were saying in the Ayurveda there is true, but butter isn't always flickering and out of control. Of course, the butter in proper constitution is actually inspirational, very great ideas, lots of great ideas.
That's true. It's when
It's
it's
only
out
it's
of
only when it's out of
balance.
balance. Same as the other two.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali very well describes different levels of mind, almost like no other place in Sastra. So how Patanjali's described different levels of mind is very useful in relation to our chanting of bhakti. And what you're saying with the Ayurveda is also very helpful when it's in a state of vibrity, like dearrangement, when those elemental constructions are out of balance and different thoughts comes. And you can also look at it through the lens of the gunas, thoughts in relation to the gunas. But what this verse also points to me, it reminds me of Kamsa Avatar instructing the four Kumaras in the 11th canto, that, and like Prabhuji said, that it's the nature of the mind to wander. So Krishna said by practice and detachment. So in the 11th canto, Kamsa Avatar has highlighted detachment because the mind's natural propensity is to wander. So if there's like a barking dog and you're afraid of the dog, then the dog picks up on that and it becomes more and more prominent. But if you ignore the dog, then it just chills out and it comes and sits by your feet. Or if you tell a child, don't look in the cupboard,